Well, Stan, Laurel and Oliver Hardy are one of the most celebrated comedy duos of all time. The film Stan and Ollie not only revels in their brilliance, it delves into their relationship, which, in a prologue set in 1937, when they were at the height of their fame, suffers a bit of a hitch when Stan, played by Steve Coogan, wants to get out from under producer Hal Roach, whom he feels is exploiting them, and move to 20th Century Fox.
Has she told you yet? We're setting up on our own.
Hal, it might be best if you could see your way to a small raise.
You're setting up on your own, huh? Well, how about this? Babe's still under contract with me, and I ain't releasing him.
You can't have Hardy without Laurel.
Ollie, John C. Reilly, burdened by multiple divorces and a gambling problem, opts to stay with Roach. 16 years later, in 1953, the pair embark on a stage tour of England and Ireland. Their meagre audiences in the provinces are boosted when they agree to do publicity for themselves. Both men are eagerly awaiting the arrival of their wives from America. Lucille Shirley Henderson had entranced Ollie when he met her as a script girl. And Stan was married to Ida, a Russian-born actress who's played brilliantly by Nina Arianda. The two women have a slightly competitive relationship, but both adore their husbands. Stan and Ollie was written by Jeff Pope, who'd collaborated with Steve Coogan on Philomena, and it was directed by John S. Baird. What shines through the film is the affection the filmmakers have for their subjects. The performances of both Steve Coogan and John C. Reilly are just stupendous. What's lovely is the depiction of the decency and loyalty and actual affection of these two great comics towards one another. It's actually really moving. Stan and Ollie may seem a film made to attract an older demographic, but it shouldn't. It's one for all ages. Graham.
Oh, it certainly is one for all ages. You said this after we watched it at the screening, that, I'm not sure what demographic this is aimed at. When it's, as you say, it really is aimed at absolutely everybody, and everybody will love this film. People of all ages will love this film. I thought this was one of the films, of the last, 12 months, really. And I watched the BAFTAs the other night, and there was poor Steve Coogan sitting there where all these other stars were being acclaimed, and his performance puts most of the other performances completely to shame. It's a brilliantly realised bit of comic acting.
Yes.
And Johnson Reilly is also damn good. I mean, they're just beautiful performances. And at the end of that screening, we walked out, and behind us a woman came out, a female critic I didn't know, but she said, "That is just the best love story I've seen for years." And she was dead right. This is the most beautiful story, beautifully realised and technically very accomplished as a piece of direction. There's a tracking shot at the start that rivals the great tracking shot of Orson Welles, and also the great tracking shot in The Player as well. They start in the studio and we go out through the studio lot, we go all the way to Hal Roach's studio. I'm not quite sure why they shot it that way, but it's a wonderful shot that introduces us to the characters, to the old-style Hollywood setting, and it's
also how much they're loved by everybody they encounter. I mean, they were really nice people.
They were terrific people.
As depicted in the film.
Well, that's right. There's not a bad element to either of them. I mean, they're just charming men and obsessed with their comedy. Well, Stan is particularly. He's the brains behind them, which might be interesting to a lot of people.
He never stopped writing for them, even though they stopped performing when Ollie got sick. But how many stars would you give it?
Oh, I'd give this 4.5. I love this film. I think it's an absolutely exceptional bit of filmmaking.
Yeah, I would too, actually. I think it's just one you want to embrace. 4.5 stars from me too.
What's the matter?
My head hurts.
I'll get a doctor.